Call to order the July 7th, 2025 Meriwether County Board of Commissioners meeting. Please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. Please stand for the invocation by Pastor William Brown, Coke Baptist Church, followed by the pledge.
Dear Father, we thank you so much for the privilege to be here today. We pray over our community that you might grant us, our leaders, wisdom and their business here tonight, and all those in our county safety over the next coming days. We extend our hearts, both as a community and a county, towards those who've experienced loss in Texas, that you might be with them, give them comfort and strength. Help us today. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is to adopt the agenda. Is there anything we need to add or take away from this agenda?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
No.
So we have a motion to.
I make a motion.
Second. All in favor? Okay. Presentations. I see we have two presentations. Number one is Enrichment Services Program, Mrs. Dorsey Mott.
Be here at 6.
Right here. We'll move on to number two. Maybe she'll come in before it's over. So number two is EMC Engineering Services. Discussion of ongoing projects. Christopher Brazil. Did I say that right? Brazil or Brazil?
Brazzle dazzle.
Brazzle, yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Close enough. I've been called worse. It's not late for supper. Well, thank you so much for having me here tonight. It's a privilege to update you with the projects that we got going on. And first, I'm going to talk about the Meriwether County Courthouse. As y'all know, we did the original assessment. We're moving into phase 2, which is the design documents, where we've been contracted to do phase 1, which is what we outlined in our assessment, which was the roof and the flashing and getting it dried in. And then phase 2 of our recommendations, which was the interior improvements to the third and second floor. So we're into those design documents. We'll be able to present 90% drawings in about 60 days. Our team will be on site this week doing some intensive measuring and studying, detailing, and preparing some of the fine-tooth type deal when we put together our final construction drawings. But one thing that I wanted to bring tonight with you guys is, as we dug into this process, we know that historic reservations or preservations and restorations are very unique from a contracting standpoint. John and I talked a little bit when we had an opportunity to kind of drill into it and maybe make a recommendation to the commission to consider contracting this project out as a construction manager at risk. Basically, they give you a guaranteed maximum price. We're working off of a budget because our concern is if we put it out for bid with the procurement standards in place, low bid wins, and we don't need a residential or general commercial contractor out there trying to work on a historic building like this. I think if we have the opportunity to go to the CMAR process, we can put out a statement of qualifications and bring in contractors that has experience, not only in this area, but in this type of construction that we'll be proposing. Also, with this delivery method, you're working with a cost up front. When you hard bid a number, you tend to see a lot of change orders on the backside just because of the complexity of the job. Once we start tearing down walls and looking behind some of these finishes that we cannot see at the moment, we do anticipate hidden damage. So if we work with a CMAR, they'll have that built into that, and we have allowances for any type of hidden cost associated with that. So that's kind of where we would like for us to go to. You guys have the right to select whatever process you want to go, and we'll comply with that. But if we do go the CMAR route, my recommendation is for us to start thinking about what that looks like and maybe get that schedule moving faster than later. I will say that we use this delivery method for Harris County Courthouse, which is right down the road. Feel free to reach out to those peers and see how that worked out. We did get a qualified contractor that really had 10, 15 years of historic preservation and restoration, which really helped out for that project. And in the end, I think they're going to end up saving money than a hard bid situation. And I'm here to answer any questions about the project specifically or talk more about Seymour delivery.
So, how, a simple question, but it's gonna sound blunt, rude. How do we speed this up? But, I mean, I understand that things take time,
Yes.
things have to be done, but how can we move faster? Is there anything that the county needs to do? Or-
No, sir, I think we're working, as fast as we can. We've got all the consultants involved. It's a very complex project. We want to make sure we do it the right way
Right.
and get everything done. Fast is slow in some situations and slow is fast, but, we're committed to getting those plans to you guys in 60 days, 90%. And then from there, we can make that decision on where we want to go from there.
So if things were to go to plan in relative average timeframes for approvals and discussion, how long do you think before we're kicked off and then maybe even finished with this?
I think there's a realistic chance that we could have a contractor on board within 90 days from this meeting,
Okay.
based off of when y'all can select the contractor. Depends on the delivery method, obviously.
Right.
And then from there, I'd say maximum, a 6-month schedule, and that's built in with the abatement, because we know there's lead and asbestos in mold that we need to deal with, and then giving them enough time. The only thing that you want to work around is working on the roof in the winter is not the best time, so just trying to figure out when that.
Yeah, weather would be a big issue.
Well, weather's a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
issue, and we want to make sure that we get a string of good dry weather before we start tearing off any membranes and anything up top and have it dried in.
So definitely before this time next year, this should be a completed
But
project.
we should be, if y'all want to have a meeting over there, we can go have a meeting in the brand new finished courtroom and everything else, for sure.
Okay. Good, okay. I don't have any more questions about that project.
And I believe we got a separate agenda item for LMIG. So we can bring it to speed. We've assessed the roads that were identified in the previous LMIG application. We've identified some solutions and gave cost estimates to John and his team. We're well under the estimated budget. So I think the idea is to come back at a later agenda item and talk about potentially adding more roads and get this thing out to bid as quickly as possible.
So are you gonna be here for that item?
100%, I'm not leaving until y'all turn out the lights, so, and run
Okay.
me off. I heard there's food in the social hall afterwards.
Okay.
Thank you for giving Ron.
It's quite a ways down, so I didn't know if you would stay.
No, I'm here to stay.
Okay, okay. All right, did Ms. Dorsey Mott come in?
Don't see her.
Okay, so we'll move on to the finance report.
Commissioners, in front of you, I printed out the bank balances. These were ran today at around 4 p.m. If you notice, the general fund has a little over $930,000, so it's remaining steady. Scrolling on down, you'll notice the LGIP did update with the new month's figures of interest earnings. Per your request, Mr. Chairman, I have notated the month-to-date interest earnings as well as the year-to-date interest earnings that we have accrued for all of our LGIP funds throughout the year. I did want to highlight that the recreation bank account sits over $29,000. That is a fairly new bank account, and just from month over month, last month, it gained over $4,500. So recreation is really bringing in some money with concessions and other things. Jumping down to the tipping and host fees, we did check for those. We should have them probably by the 15th of this month. So we'll be able to update you guys with those figures on the next meeting. At the very bottom, you will notice the lost SPLOST in 2025 T-SPLOST distributions. We did remove the line item for the 2020 T-SPLOST distribution, as those will no longer be coming in. It was replaced with the 25. Flipping over, this will be your SPLOST and T-SPLOST commitments. The culverts for the SPLOST was reduced by $5,000. We did remit a payment. The jail plumbing as well, the $75,000 bill was paid today for Max Air that repaired the plumbing at the jail. So you'll notice that item has been removed. Jumping over to the T-SPLOST, we have added the Alvinton and additional road widening, estimated $200,000. So that will leave the 2020 SPLOST balance with $1,067,289.89. And the T-SPLOST balance, which will show the 2020 as well as the 2025, but the total for both of those together is the $395,397.13. The LRA monies that I mentioned the previous meeting, I have those listed, the 1,018,000. No commitments have been yet assigned. And then you'll notice to the left, the LRA that has already been received and all of the commitments for that. Overall, finance has no issues. Everything seems to be holding steady. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
So I have a couple. So T-Splosh balance is 395 and change, and we have 1,018,000 of the second LRA. So we have 1.4-ish million available in T-Splosh road bridge coverage. Okay. Secondly was Alberton and additional roads widening. We set a limit on that when we made the motion, correct?
Correct, 200,000.
200,000.
Okay. That is-
We just want to put in the commitment for this.
Okay, I just didn't remember if it was 200 or it was, for some reason 165 was in my head, but.
I recommend 250 and
Yeah.
get back to 200.
Okay.
I did want to make one correction, Mr. Chairman. It is the June loss and T-Splosh allocations, not July.
Oh, sorry.
It's just,
And one other question. So the 2025 LMIG minimum match at 249, that is based off of the award we were given of 830.
correct.
Okay.
That's our state minimum requirement to,
So what the state gave us, we had to match 30% of that.
we could always go more in excess, but we have to at least do the 1 point, almost 1 point.
I'll just make sure that was the minimum requirement we had to do and not matching what the current bids came back at. So, okay. All right, any other questions about the finance?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any department heads to speak?
Just have one, Mr. Chairman, from the Recreation Department. Let me get to his email. And he could not be here because Alan cannot be here because of a doctor's appointment, but he said that spring baseball, softball season has ended. They're very pleased with the performance of the All-Stars. The 8U coach pitch baseball finished 5th in the GRPA tournament after finishing district as runner-up. They had 2 groups of 10U baseball teams. One of those teams went to Fort Oglethorpe to play in the Dizzy Dean State Tournament and defeated Bowden in the district tournament. Upon reaching Fort Oglethorpe on day 1, heavy rains came and suspended play. Once all the rain subsided, the tournament took place and the group of 10U boys finished 3rd in the state. The 10U GRPA Class C state baseball was held here in Meriwether County. It was considered a success and we received many complaints about our hospitality and many said they look forward to us hosting again in the future.
Complaints or compliments?
Compliments, I'm sorry. Compliments about our hospitality. I was reading it on a little bitty phone.
It's fine.
The 10U GRPA team from Meriwether County fought hard and finished the state tournament in 3rd place. The 10U softball team finished GRPA district tournament as runner-up and went to state. At the state tournament, the girls finished in 5th place. Also in the GRPA, the 8U coach pitch softball team went to Putnam County and played in the state tournament after winning the district tournament. And they were state champions. Was it 8U state champions? Yes, they were state champions. So we did win 8U state champions in girls softball.
So we're going to schedule them for.
Yeah.
It'll be a proclamation
That
at the
taken
next
care of.
meeting. With the 4th of July holiday, I figure a lot of them will be out of town. Football, cheerleading, and other fall activity registrations are taking place. At this time, there are about 80 participants registered for fall activities. This consists of 7U football, 8U football, 9U football, and the CGYSA. And they said everything, the 4th of July, they had plenty of people visit the concession trailer during the baseball and softball tournaments. They just got praised for how everything looked out there in Meriwether County.
So I'm going to need your availability or his availability for a meeting. The Woodbury School is under contract to be purchased again, and the purchaser wants to meet with, I guess it's on the chairman, I get the pleasure, about that negotiation of that contract.
Okay.
So I will need to know from you or from him, whichever you decide to be there, what are the plans and the schedules for the events there, so that I make sure I don't omit anything or over commit something that we're doing, so,
If you let us know your availability, Mr. Chairman, me and Alec can meet whenever you can meet. So
okay,
we'll work around your schedule this year.
okay.
Even if it's after 5, I don't mind
Well,
sticking around.
it's the purchaser as well, so she's wanting to meet, so we have to,
Yeah, I mean, even if she wants me at 5 o'clock, I have no problem staying
Okay.
late with that. I'm sure Alan won't either.
okay. Any other comments or questions? Any other department heads to speak?
We have several in the audience. I don't know if they have an update. No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do not see any citizen comments signed up, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Next item is minutes, approving the minutes from the June 24th, 2025 regular meeting at 6 p.m.
Before you approve, in your packet, it's probably gonna look a little different. I was made aware of some typos. I did fix a part that under November Lane, there was a part that said regarding the survey, that was corrected. And then also under comments about the agenda packet, I think it was referred to as she and it should have been he, so we've corrected those.
Okay.
Also on page 12, discussion of Meadows Boone Road. It says Mr. Scott Bowden, the property owner, along the roadway. Isn't that, was Scott not representing?
He was
Herbert Crawford?
representing Mr. Crawford, yes, we can correct that.
Okay.
Any other changes need to be made to the minutes?
No, sir.
All right, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes with the changes mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. No public hearing.
No, sir.
The appointments, we have, number one is appointment to the Pathways Community Service Board. 3-year term that will begin on July the 1st, 2025 and expire June 30th, 2030. We tabled this from June 24th, 2025. Does anyone have someone they'd like to nominate to this board?
I spoke with Jennifer Jones and she said she would be glad to continue serving for the county.
Putting that in form of motion?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we accept her to stay on the board.
Second.
In a second. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 2, appointment to the Recreation Advisory Board, District 4. So 1-year term that will begin on July 1st, 2025, expire on June 30th, 2026. We tabled this from June 24th, 2025. Commissioner Threadgill is not able to make it to the meeting tonight, requested we table it.
So I'll make a motion to table it to July 22nd, 6 p.m.
Second. All in favor? All right, unfinished business. First item is a request from residents to place November Lane in the county road system.
Commissioners, this item was tabled from the June 24th meeting. It was requested that November Lane residents be present. I think Mr. Andreco Dunlap is here and the residents of November Lane that can answer any questions that the commissioners had during the June 24th meeting. Everything is the same in the issue paper that was presented. And staff will recommend that road only be accepted into the maintenance system after all deeds conveying the necessary right-of-way have been received from the residents of November Lane, following items 1 and 2 above, which is the survey of the plat and property deeds. And the Board of Commissioners are willing to reinstate the road into the maintenance system.
So is there a spokesperson maybe for the November Lane request that? So what the county needs to move forward with that request is 2 items. One is we need to have a professional survey done that shows where the road goes and what properties it touches and may pass through. That will need to be done by you guys, the property owners that want this done. And then 2, once we have that, we will know who needs to deed property to the county as the right of way to be able to maintain and do the work that needs to be done to keep the runoff from going into your property.
Okay,
I thought all we needed to do was do the quick deed. To quick deed that piece of, which was, like, nearly like 100 feet of land.
I don't know what,
That's
Brian,
what
do you
we
know
were
what
told.
the right-of-way distance will be
60 feet,
from the center of the road on each side?
yeah, 30 feet each side.
30 feet each side. So the question is the map that we see, because the road is not a county road, so it's never been platted to say, here's where it is in the right of way. It looks like it touches certain properties that we didn't discuss in the first meeting. So we just need to be absolutely certain that if it's your property and then that one and that one and that one, which one does it touch, and that everyone's in agreement before we can move forward. And it's only gonna be, it's not gonna be 100 feet, it'll be 60 feet wide.
Okay,
But as it goes through, whose property is it touching? So who's gonna give up 30 feet over here? Who's gonna give up 30 feet over here? We need to know exactly who that is, and then make sure that you guys are in agreement that, yes, I wanna do that, and I'll sign that over in the quitclaim deed.
that's
The main reason, ma'am, when it required a survey like that is since it was a private family road all these years.
no,
Okay,
that's
well,
not,
and where the road's at now, there's no way Public Works or the county could go in there and just assume, okay, this is a driveway, we're gonna call this a center and go 30 and 30. They gotta have it surveyed out, because if we did that, and then all of a sudden, if we did that, and then all of a sudden,
let me say this.
if we did that,
Hang on one second, we'll let you say it.
if we did that, just assume the center 30-30, and then for some reason this property owner or this property owner, the way their property lays, this lays, all of a sudden, it didn't work
Okay,
out right. So the
okay.
purpose for having a survey is so
You've been
we
cutting
are
me
accurate.
off. We've done the research. You all supposedly did all this research a long time ago. First of all, November Lane was never a private road.
It was.
No, never.
There's no
First of
documents
all, it
filed
was
with the
never a
county.
private road.
There's no legal
You-
documents filed with the county,
That's
and it was
right,
not.
that's right. Somebody made it a private road. Somebody, Meriwether County is supposed to have these documents somewhere. You all stuck that private road on that sign. Somebody did. John, you were supposed to do your research, but you never did.
Yes.
That was a
We-
county road maintained.
We did the research, ma'am, and there's
But
no
you never
record.
proved it. You never proved it.
There is proof that it does not exist
You
in the
never
Beverly
proved
County
it was
record.
a private road, and you never proved it was a county road.
We
that's
proved
the
it was
thing.
not a county road because it is not in
No.
county records.
No.
Yes,
Now you want us
that's
to.
how it works.
Now you want us to deed that piece of land and do a survey on it now, so that we can do this, what you're talking about now.
So,
So we've been fighting this
I understand,
for
and
a
we're trying
long
to help.
time. No, you're not. You're
Yes,
not
we are.
trying to help us.
So,
And
you
we're
keep
right back
saying,
where we started from.
okay, you
It's
keep,
not fair.
you want to interrupt me like you didn't like it, you
No,
thought he did, so
no,
thank you. Just
no.
a second. You keep saying you people. We were not a part of whatever happened there. This board that's here now did
And that's
not,
why the
I'm sorry, ma'am,
citizens of
please.
November Lane are here.
that's fine.
So we
This
want
board,
answers.
we were not
We
here.
want answers.
I'd like to answer you.
Go ahead.
We were not on the board to decide whether it was public or private or change the sign.
And that's why we've been working with you for months.
I'm not quite finished. We looked and went to find out what happened and pulled all the records from other meetings. And we went and said, there's no evidence that it was a county road
So-
changed to private and then brought back. We found
So-
record, hang on, we found record where the board, prior to us, the members said, we will send Public Works out to do work on your road. That does not mean we're taking it as a public road back in the county system. Now, I don't know if that's how the confusion came in, but that's what we know and have found. So we're trying to say, all right, we can help and fix this, and in order for us to do that, we've got to make sure that what work we do will not damage anybody's property. And then you guys come back and sue us for the work we did. We can't do that.
So make it make sense to me why you unintentionally stuck a black PVT on my November Lane sign, and I came in here and told you to take it off.
We did.
That's discrimination right there.
We took it off.
You did.
Yeah.
At my urgency in this meeting, and I told you to take it off.
Yeah.
And I know neighbors down the road who got the same sign.
With what?
Yeah,
Black,
What excuse
black
is
writing
that?
on it?
I got a question. If this has always been a county road, which we have no record of it, why would you be coming forward asking us to add it to the?
Bruce O'Neill,
Ma'am, I can't talk.
years
Never mind.
ago.
I'm good.
I know you're good. Bruce O'Neill years ago told me, he said, Miss Dunlap, you're right. This is a county road maintained. He said, we're gonna fix your road. But he's no longer here. So I can't speak for him.
Well, with the people that looked into it, we can have them explain to you what they found.
When we pulled the minutes from the meeting, there was a meeting back in the day, I'm not sure what the actual meeting date, I don't have it in front of me.
November 23rd, 2010.
November 23rd, 2010. It clearly states that November Lane is a private road. Bruce O'Neill was given approval by the board at the time to do a one-time service on that road. But there was also things that were supposed to be signed. It was supposed to go back through the administrator as well. I can't remember it word for word. I'm not looking at
A right of
it.
entry had to be
A
signed.
right of entry. That is the only record we've ever found showing any work ever done by the county on November Lane.
Yes.
So Public Works has also gone out and assessed what needs to be done to get it taken care of for the community. And it's not gonna cost a lot of money. And it can be done through, T-SPOS funds, just like we went through in the finance budget, and be done by Public Works. And we just need to be protected legally, you and us, from the work that we're gonna do, which is the survey to make sure whose property we are touching. So there may be someone that don't even know this is going on and it's gonna touch their property. They may not be in agreement. Once we get that, everyone do the quick claim deed that we talked about before that gives that
It was
right of way.
already done. That's been done already.
We don't have a copy of that survey. If you've got it and can bring it, then that'll speed this up.
And then the work that you did previously on the road, it did more damage to my property because it leaned on what you did, damaged my well water. And I got a sample of my water with me. You already got what you did. I haven't drunk any of my water in those years and before that.
Ma'am, I think what we're trying to explain is that was done in 2010.
Uh-huh.
And we're trying to get everything signed over now so that if 15, 20 years from now, somebody else is living out there and says, the work that the county did is what messed up my well now. We have to have everything legal so that when we go back and look, we have all the documentation to have it all clear right in front of us. Because back then, they only granted a one-time right-of-way, a right of entry one time to fix that road because it was considered private then. And that's why they let him come on once. But it was just a one-time right of entry was all that they had requested back then. And so we said we couldn't because they still had it listed private. And the only reason the letters were black is because that's just a county-wide lettering for all the roads. It
All
had nothing
this
to
to
do
me
with it.
is just blah, blah, blah.
Because the roads around my house, it doesn't matter. It's just, that was just marking.
Because I'm getting all my documents together now, because
Well, you
I spent a lot of
have anything
money
else, I
fixing
understand.
my yard.
We're gonna get back in order and
Yeah.
stop yelling across.
Yeah.
All we need to do is make a decision on, we've explained what we need to do to be able to move forward and accomplish the task they requested. So what is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion. We table this until we have the documentation that we need to officially, move forward.
All right,
Second.
all in favor? Thank you. Item number 2, acceptance of contract for Lifeline billing services, EMS services, and allow the chair, vice chair to sign.
1 second, Mr. Chairman, while I get to that page. Commissioners, this item was deferred from the June 24, 2025 meeting. we had questions regarding what the percentage was the fee. The fee for any outstanding collection from election EMS.
Go now.
There's somebody want to ask a question in the back.
Should I please just ask a question?
Yes, ma'am, if you'll please come up, we can hear.
And her name.
And I need you to state your name and address, please.
My name is Tina Dunlap. My address is 107 November Lane, Pine Mountain. I'm kind of confused. We pay taxes. And I'm trying to figure out where, off of November Lane, our tax dollars going to. What does it benefit for us?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, I was just gonna answer that
We
question.
see no benefits from us paying taxes, yet we are paying a bunch of taxes and been paying it for years. Now, you says the road is private. So is it fair for us to have to get a survey, pay a surveyor, and we pay taxes in the county? I mean, that makes no sense. If we gotta come out of our pocket to pay a surveyor to come down there, we don't pay for the land, we pay taxes. So what I'm trying to understand is why we got to come out the pocket for a survey. We do all of this, and then you all's decision still remain the same.
We didn't say no, we just keep tabling it till we can get to where we can get to those points. So I'm one vote on this board, but I believe that if you guys would agree to let's do the survey to make sure everything's done accurately, and then do the quick claim deed based on whose property it touches, that the county's willing to work with you on that survey cost.
So, okay.
I'm
that's-
one vote, I can't promise you that we will. It takes 3 people to get that approved.
To try to help you understand the tax question you had, there's a lot of homes in this county that are on private roads. Anybody who owns property has to pay taxes
I
on
understand.
property. It's not just simply because the road is for ambulance service, et cetera, et cetera. So I understand why you're asking, like, well, I should have to pay taxes if it's my road. There's a lot of people who don't live on roads that are private, but the county still, that's started years ago. So all we're trying to do is, since there's no record of it at all, and even though somebody mentioned back in 2010, whatever board that was made an exception, be honest with you, that should have never took place.
But it did.
That's not right, and it's not right to the taxpayers, but it did, it's passed, and we can't do nothing about that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're making sure we do it right and accurately. So, all we're asking, just find out what it would cost. If you want my number, I'll help you find a surveyor, but you just gotta get someone that will go out there and give you an estimated cost to survey where that road's at. So our public works guy will understand where the right of way is on this side and the right of way is on this side. That's all we're asking for. But since it's not a county road, we can't take county tax dollars and pay for it for you. But once y'all get that established, we can have him go out there and do the work, the deed will be to it, we'll make it a county road, and then from now on, they can pick up the phone and go, I need gravel, or I need my ditch cleaned out, and they will have to take care of it for you.
I mean, I mentioned earlier that it's not that expensive. It's around $10,000 to do what needs to be done. We discussed that in a prior meeting. I'm one vote, but I think the board is in agreement that we can do that, but it's gotta be done legally so that we make sure.
And that's what I'm
everybody's
trying to find out about, because in my yard, I'm at the very bottom. And all the water from the top comes in my yard, just done made a big, you saw it when you was there, it just done washed everything away, it just made a big dish. And when it rains very heavily, then my yard is just flooded.
And that's what we want to avoid, because on the map, it says it goes and curves here, and is it called November Lane? Then it goes straight into property, what you're describing as yours.
Right.
It says it's November Lane.
Right.
Which one is it? It can't be one road that turns into two, and whose property is it touching? So if we assumed that it was this one, we did all this work, and everything runs to yours, and now you're mad and upset, and we've damaged your property. That's why we need the survey to say, where's the road supposed to be? Whose property is it touching, so that we don't have everybody upset and damage some property. Because whatever work they did in 2010,
Should not be
it
done.
should not have been done legally, it shouldn't have been done at all. Created issues now, 15 years later. We don't want that again. We want to fix your issue, put it back on the county system, and we can do it relatively cheap. There's just a couple steps that have to be done to protect you citizens and protect us.
Well, we'll find out about a surveyor and then, come back and let you all,
Yes, ma'am,
No,
that's all we
because-
ask you to do.
yeah. Road definitely need to be fixed.
That way, if it may be touching someone's property that's not even in the group today that doesn't know.
But I think
And
everybody's
I don't
here.
know who lives out there and who.
All of
who
us
owns
are
it.
here,
Okay.
yeah.
But we just need to make sure and know.
Yeah, everybody was in agreement, so,
Okay.
everybody's here. Okay, thank you. All right.
Thank you. All right. All right, back to item 2.
The contract for Lifeline, Mr. Chairman, you had a question about the fee that will be collected by Lifeline. It is 20% of the outstanding balance. And that's compared to the 5.85% of what EMS is currently billing as of net revenue. So this is two separate contracts. EMS does the 5.85% of net revenue for the billing, and then any past due collection items that go to collections, Lifeline will collect at 20%. Legal has reviewed and Lifeline has accepted all of legal requested changes.
But I also, we discussed, we recently changed billing companies.
Correct.
I guess we thought we were gonna save money, get more accurate and save money. Now that we're having to go out and get this recovery agency, are we actually saving money?
I think we'll be collecting more of the past due collections that we have not collected in the past. EMS billing will go out and collect up to a certain point until it becomes delinquent. That's where Lifeline will come in. So if it's considered delinquent, Lifeline will go out and try to collect it, and they will get 20% of the fee or the charge, the net revenue. I guess the simplest way to put it, if it's your credit report for $2,000, they will get 20% if they collected it for $400.
Right.
So the standard rate is 5.85% on what is collectible,
Yes, sir.
and then 20% will be on what's delinquent.
Delinquent only. So once it hits that past due to your credit report type scenarios, when
What does
the,
that get to, 90 days? Or-
it varies on the industry, I would believe. And I don't think Eleva's had a collection agency because they reached out on some past due invoices and outstanding fees that were never collected.
We had a collection agency a while back before you were here, and I think I can't remember the name of it, but they collect the same situation is basically what they did. But I don't know how much, I think your question is how much difference is one bringing in over the other? Do you know that answer?
I do not, because we've been collecting about $100,000 a month in EMS fees currently with EMS at the 5.85% fees.
But what I'm trying to get at is, maybe I worded it poorly, is what is it costing us to get $100,000 in fees? What did it cost us before, and what is it costing us now? So we're gonna draw in the fees that we get. We're paying a service to do that for us. If we change services under the guise that they would be more efficient, cheaper, what have you. But now we're having to do collections. So are we still in a profitable aspect, more profitable than we were prior to?
Thank you.
I believe we will be, Mr. Chairman, because we will be attempt to be collecting on the delinquent accounts. To where we
We
are
weren't
currently,
prior.
priorly, we were not collecting on those accounts.
But before we hired this company, the new company was getting 5.85%, we probably weren't even going after those delinquent
We weren't.
accounts.
We were not.
That's the thing, they won't collect, they're not a collection agency, is
Yeah.
what they'll tell you.
So EMS billing is totally separate than this one here. This is just for a collection, basically a collection agency
Okay.
to go out to past due.
I think some collection agencies get 50%.
That's not different.
Okay. Any other discussion about that?
And we just need, if approved by the board, we need a chair or vice chair to sign. And the agreement is attached.
We have no more discussion. Anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept the contract for Lifeline Billing Services at 20% net of revenue collected on delinquent accounts. And allow the chair, the vice chair to sign.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you, Commissioners.
Did we go through on item 1, tabling that meeting? Did we set a date?
You didn't set a
It's
date.
tabled until the information was collected.
That's right.
That's the way I said it, yeah,
Yes.
till they have the documents, and then they can put it back on the agenda.
Yep.
All right, and it got approved and seconded and everything?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Item 3, case number P25-003, request from Jacob Clare for the special use of parcel 172-073-001 and 507 on Dan Road, Woodbury, for the proposed use of a 5-space RV campsite.
Commissioners, this case was tabled from May 27, 2025. The public hearing has now been closed. The matter is scheduled for decision. Should say Director Cassandra Jones is present to address any remaining questions related to this case.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys, I had done a little more background check on the property, and you guys have your issue paper in front of you, I hope. I did a lot of deep diving into this, and as you can see that there was an electrical permit pulled for a barn that ended up being used for this site. I went out there and had an electrician out there and found out it is all temporary power. It is not permanent power, as that was told previously. It has been permitted as a hunting, fishing, and camp for the last 2 years by Mr. Jones. And that Mr. Jones had also gotten a septic system put in for a bathroom and a barn but 3 years ago, and that system is what Mr. Jones had used for this campsite that he had created. And then when Mr. Clare, who had been residing at the site, had been living at the site, was under the impression and belief by Mr. Jones that this was a legal campground, and when he purchased it, found out that it wasn't when he tried to get licensed, and that's the reason he came before the board. Nothing has changed. He still wants to do the 5-space. He's not done anything on the sites yet. He does have gravel and things to put there, but he's not wanted to put the expense out there until he has a yes or no from you guys. But he does want to do the 90-day stay with a 30-day vacancy. And then he does want to have the 5 sites as a private RV camp. During the investigations, I also found on Facebook and at Smeedy's flyers from Mr. Jones, where he actually had it advertised as Country Girl, what's it called? Country Girl Camp Club. So he actually advertised it as a campsite that we did not know about. So Mr. Clare, who was unable to be here at last meeting, is here, and he's hoping that you guys will recommend approval for this 5-space campsite.
And how did each campsite get the power and everything done there and
Mr. Jones had done all that.
without inspections?
He
You said he permitted power for the
permitted
barn.
temporary power for the barn, and now there's
And I
temp
assume
poles.
they ran from the barn to all the
Poles.
campsites on their own.
They
It's
did.
like when we had all the campsites down Lake Meriwether, we had to have it all in, that's when we had a private
Right.
company,
Yeah.
then had to come in and
And yeah.
inspect everything.
Yeah, and
before we
that's why I
could-
had an electrician go out there and look at all the sites to make sure that they were to code, and they are at code, but they were not permitted individually.
So you're saying all the hookups are to code?
Yes,
Now.
Jeremy says they are at code. And the health department says that the septic system is code for only 5 spaces. No more.
But there is code for setting it of the camp spot, right?
Yes.
Containment, gravel and the containment.
Yes, he has the stuff ready for that, but he had said that he did not want to continue and place all that gravel there until you guys gave him the go-ahead, and then he would prepare each site properly.
And does it have to be permanent power, or can he continue to use temporary power?
On the campsites, he can use the temp power because, or we can have him he can have them put into permanent power with 1 meter permanent meter for all.
Okay. And what was the planning and zoning recommendation?
The recommendation for approval with the 90 days maximum with a 30-day leave. No permanent fixtures, quiet time posted, and do background checks on any adult campers that's going to be more than a week at a time.
And then no more than 5 campers.
And yeah, no more than 5 campers.
And of course, up to the code that we have for campsites.
Yes,
And which department in the county monitors all that,
we will.
like code enforcement and stuff?
Yes, sir.
You say y'all had in there, background check?
They agreed to do background checks for it's for more like the sexual predators.
What's
and
that, sir?
Sex offender registry?
The sex offender registry.
Because I think to say, I would have never dreamed.
It's for those.
I personally don't see why that should be in there.
It
If
don't
it's
have
open
to
for
be.
the
That was
public,
just,
nobody, you know.
right. That was just a recommendation
Yeah.
from the planning board, but it's not one that you guys had to put in there. It was just the planning board's recommendation. It was
Does the county
the
do
sex
background
offender.
checks on everybody before they stay down there?
No.
I don't think you should have to do it either if the board decides to approve it, but.
Well, my thing with it is in my district, and, what's to say that somebody puts a camper out there and there's 20 people staying in one camper? There needs to be something where they can't exceed the recommendation for the camp, manufacturer of the camper, like, say it says it sleeps 6, well, they can be only 6 people in there.
We'll make that a zoning condition is how you do it.
Yeah.
Come on up here.
This is Mr. Claire.
So I charge a flat rate based on 30 amps or 50 amp hookup. I don't want 20 people in a camper there, that's gonna cost me more.
Yeah.
So I can give you that assurance, that's not what we're going for.
And along the road, I mean, could we put up a fence, some type of fence, and maybe a coated gate or something?
Absolutely, if that's what we need. So the fence there's a fence there with the vines, I know you've been out there recently,
Yeah, but
right?
it doesn't look too
Yeah, it's not,
nicely to me.
Not yet.
I mean,
but yeah, absolutely, I can put a
so
fence
you
up,
go along with, putting a fence up, a gate,
absolutely.
keypad gate, and not to exceed the manufacturers, on the campers.
Absolutely.
Occupancy on the camper.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be number
So I need to
7
put
and
that,
number
what
8.
is it?
You said,
Condition?
yeah, so
I
you
got it.
would
I'm
say,
writing it down so
yeah,
we can.
you would just say, I
I'm gonna
mean,
read them all off to make sure we get it
Okay.
right.
I say we do away with the background check as well. Don't have background checks
Yeah,
as
I
a
don't think that
requirement.
needs to be.
Yeah, I'm okay without that.
Right, we'll do away with that.
Somebody could call you up tonight, say you was already open, call tonight, and go, you got a spot open, we need one desperately, you know,
Right.
well, gotta wait till I run this background check.
Exactly. I do run the sex offenders registry check. Every state has their own website. It takes about 30 seconds. I do that for my own peace of mind. But as far as the background check goes,
Yeah, we can,
yeah.
Okay, give us a shot then. So I'm gonna read this off and then someone can say we need to make changes or make it into a motion. So the planning commission is heard, and so we're saying we could recommend approval with conditions of 1, have code of conduct posted on site at all times. Number 2, no permanent fixtures such as decks, etc. 3, we must post quiet time. 4, no camper is to stay more than 90 days at a time and must be off-site 30 days before returning. 5, no more than 5 campers on site. 6, no camper housing more than the manufacturer's recommendations on occupancy. And 7, meet all other code requirements for a camper.
did you say fence?
yes.
Yeah, fence. Fence and gate code, number 8.
8 is add fencing
What did he say 7 was?
Keypad gate.
and keep adding gate. Okay.
That's 8,
The,
right?
That'll be
the
number 8, yes.
requirements for camper manufacturers, how many people can be in that camper? According to camper
Okay.
manufacturers.
That's number 7.
Yeah.
Number
she's
8,
asking
number
what-
6. All right, I'll do it again. You ready?
Number 6, I got no camper housing more than manufacturer recommendations
On occupancy, yes.
on occupancy. And then number 7,
Meet all other code requirements for a campground. Number 8, add fence and keypad gate.
okay.
All right. Anybody need me to make any other changes or would like to make that into a motion?
I make that into a motion.
Hey,
Second.
motion and second, all in favor? Here we go. Do you need this? You got it.
I got it.
Thank you, sir.
We didn't extend the public hearing, we just extended the decision.
No, but it hadn't come out public here last time.
We did last time.
It was closed.
Yeah, we closed the public
We
hearing.
did.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
I
was
was pretty sure.
Okay, item 4, discussion on allocating funds in the general projects line item.
Commissioners, this item was tabled from the June 9th, 2025 meeting to allow the county administrator to bring back to the board how these funds can be allocated. The current total amount in this line item is $30,268.74 in First People bank account, and then $3,673,850.16 in the local government investment pool. This count is currently gaining around $13,000 a month in interest. This brings the total to just over $3.7 million. The initial balance of the general fund project was approximately $3.515,839.42 and has grown with accrued interest $188,279.48. I recommend allocating a portion of these funds along with the general fund interest earned through the local government investment pool totaling $333,655.58 fiscal year to date and $121,042.98 in the general fund project-related earnings for the same period, giving a total of $454,698.56 to be used for the development of public safety communication infrastructure. I have a meeting scheduled this week with Dean from Dean's Communication to review preliminary cost estimates. While additional funding will be needed in the future, this initial allocation marks a vital first step in establishing a dependable modern communication network to support our public safety personnel. From the general fund, project fund balance of the original $3.515,839.42, which remains unaffected by the recommendation above, I propose allocating $750,000 towards the next phase of the courthouse renovation project, which will be the HVAC system. This phase is estimated to cost approximately $1.5 million. The proposed allocation will represent 21.33% of the general fund project, or general fund projects. If approved, this recommendation will leave $2,765,839.42 in the general fund special projects account, which may be used for future building renovations once staff completes facility assessments and attain cost estimates.
Okay. So I guess.
That's a lot.
So basically, it's 2 requests. Item 1 is taking the interest earned from the investment pool that you're doing with the general fund and the special projects fund.
Correct, it's all general
Interest earned
fund.
year to date. And you're using it to start the public safety communication infrastructure or improve it.
Yes, sir.
Is this radio systems of communication for E911, EMS, sheriff?
Yes, sir.
We just purchased new things and stuff. I've been here 2.5 years. We purchased something. So 2 things that concern me is hopefully the same person that convinced us to spend a couple $100,000 a year and a half ago, whatever, is not going to be in charge of this new venture. And why do we need to do this again if we just did this a year and a half ago?
To answer that question, Mr. Chairman, talking with Dean, the infrastructure of the county consists of 4 to 5 towers of a 502 square mile county. Talking with Dean, he wants to lay the groundwork on building that infrastructure out to widen the coverage area. Now, I can get him here to do a presentation because he knows more about the microwave, how they communicate, how they talk. He's got preliminary budget numbers that he's going to bring this week to me. They're working on Forest Tower Road, should be today or tomorrow, or maybe Wednesday, depending on the weather. But it'll be this week. That equipment will be going back up on Forest Road. This is a crucial step in order to get these radios to work. The ones that we have now are essentially runs off a SIM card, AT&T, Verizon, whatever cellular network they can pick up. This infrastructure will help these radios improve. And we do need to look at going something forward, because speaking with Director Jones and with Dean, those 911 iNets that are currently being used were a temporary fix to get them by. And now our deputies are having trouble searching for signal because the infrastructure of the county over 500 square miles is not built out.
Okay, second part of my question then is, you state while additional funding will be needed in the future, do we have any idea what this is gonna cost? We're gonna commit $450,000 and be half pregnant and something, now we gotta finish paying $5 million because we started and now we gotta finish because we wasted this. We need to know, what is it gonna take?
And that's why I'm waiting for Dean to come back with some preliminary budget numbers for his engineering to build out the infrastructure. I can tell you, Harris County, they're spending over $20 million on their infrastructure and their radios. If I go back,
I mean, that's fantastic. We don't have Harris County money.
Correct.
And we need to do something to make sure our, public service employees are safe and they're getting to our citizens to keep them safe. But I think in my opinion, we can't do anything until we know what we're committing to. I think it's a great idea to use that money for this type project, but
and I just want to make note too, Mr. Chairman, since the interest has brought back since I went back to fiscal year 23, just in the general fund to current, portion of it is in the fund balance, but we have almost $1.1 million set aside in interest that we can use to fund the infrastructure of the 911 public safety communications.
Well, a couple of years ago, didn't it tear a tower down out by Forest Road?
Yeah, when the tornado hit,
Has that been fixed?
the tower's back up, we're getting the.
equipment should be installed this
equipment back
week.
on it this week.
2 years later.
That's how it happens, unfortunately.
We had to go through the insurance claims and
But I mean, is it back online? Yeah.
not
They're
yet.
putting the radio equipment back on the tower this week.
so we're gonna do the assessment before or after that's online.
It'll be after that's online. Dean is working.
Significantly changed.
That's going to help
Correct.
boost the signal, and along if, I think everything's up over here on the sheriff's tower. He's getting quotes to move it to the tower behind Texaco, which will extend it out and give better coverage to the 911 iNet radios that they currently have. Like I said, it is basically ran like a cell phone off of a SIM card.
Just to interject there for 1 second, that to me in the future, I don't wanna wait on the 2-year thing and insurance. I understand that process, but the safety of our public workers and our citizens is much more critical than we have the money, to your point, that we can fix that when it happened and kept everyone reacting and safe, kept the citizens safer, and then the insurance money reimbursed that program later. So I'd like to see us as a board and staff
Thank you.
that safety's first, taking care of the people and citizens and men and women that are going to do.
And
Let's get
just
that
for-
done fast. So I just want
Just for one clarification, the radio tower took a while to be rebuilt. It hasn't been finished but about 5 months. So that was a delay. It's owned by the Joy FM. It's across the street from the house. So there was a long delay before they had the tower up, that then we could get in and get started on anything. So that wasn't all the county at that time.
But I'd almost bet you if you looked into it, it was a long delay. It was trying to figure out where the money's gonna come from, waiting on
Well, they
insurance
had to
approval.
redo the whole
Because it
thing.
doesn't take that long to have a tower built.
We got the money. We don't own the tower. We just own the equipment on the tower.
Right.
So we had to wait till the tower got put back up
Right.
to spend the money.
And they gave the permission to come, but they had to redo all the footings because the codes had changed for radio towers in that time frame of it being destroyed.
The only question I have, has anybody looked into for the fact, I remember, I think Emmett was with me, we was at a ACCG type meeting class, talking about all this upcoming infrastructure and how 911 stuff's going to be tied together. They can communicate with EMS as they're traveling there and so forth. Some of the rural counties can qualify for grants for the same stuff we're talking about, because we're such a big county, but we don't have that many. Has that even been looked into first before we approve it, just to say there is a grant out there?
I'm not familiar with it.
We have looked, and there are several, I think sent our Warnock's office.
Yes, we did.
Did we miss his deadline?
I think so. Because I need a
A cost
I would just like
estimate.
to know that there, either there is or there isn't, but I'd hate to know we prove it and then find out there was, but since we done went and started, we can't qualify.
Yeah, staff is more than willing to look into any outside funding, grants, anything of that nature. And we all know grants were put on pause for a while. They're slowly coming back open now for the federal government. It's just the infrastructure, talking with Dean, we need to do something with the infrastructure of the public safety. Radios, they can tell you, and Dean can tell you, they are a glorified cell phone. And I was right here in this office where it was searching for signal inside the building. And that, to me, is unacceptable for any means, for any of our public safety.
You're absolutely right. I think we want to do something to fix it, but we need to know what are we stepping off into.
And I have more information once I meet with Dean. He was hoping to have everything before this meeting, but he got the quotes in Wednesday or Thursday. And whenever they come down to fix the tower, he's supposed to sit down with me to go through his budget numbers, what we're looking at engineering wise, the infrastructure. He's got the towers laid out that we got permission to be on. We had a conversation with Kudzu and the Verse today. They have towers that they're willing to let us piggyback off of. There's a lot of moving parts at this moment. I just want to bring it to the board's attention that we do have almost $1 million in investment funds that we can use to this infrastructure. If it comes back at, $700,000 and get us up and going and make these radios work like they're supposed to work instead of what we have now. And that's all I was, bringing to the board. After I had conversations with the Office of the Sheriff and EMS and Public Safety, that's, 33% of our workforce is public safety.
So the new communication devices that you're looking at are not gonna run as Verizon, AT&T, the cell towers that are not dependable.
Dean has a quote for just radios for the Sheriff's Office because they have the most problems right now communicating with everybody around us.
Right.
I have not seen what that quote is for those radios, but they will work on our old system and work on the 800 megahertz system. They can switch and talk to anybody around us with these radios.
So
And
it's
it will
gonna be
work on
going back
phones.
more like a CB radio
No,
system.
this is back-
Similar, but new age.
Correct.
That
For what we have
type.
currently, and then build off of that into future. So it's not a Band-Aid fix one time. I told Dean I do not want a Band-Aid. I do not want a 6-month. I want something that we can build long-term, get us up and running to what we have now, and let's build off of it in stages. Because we don't have $20 million laying around that we can invest into it. But we do have some money that we can get a little bit better year over year over year. And while we're gaining $60,000 a month in or $50,000 a month in interest, that adds up after a while. And that's not taxpayers' money. That's interest off of taxpayers' money.
I think we should table this to a later meeting when he has the information from Dean with more long-term numbers, not let's put a little bit with it now and then we're committed to a long-term investment that we weren't.
Yes, ma'am. And I was hoping Dean would be here tonight, but he did not have his numbers. But I can set up a presentation for Dean to come and explain everything to the commissioners because I don't understand the microwave, the radios, and
It's two proposals you
How
got
they
in
work.
here, so do we need a motion or table each one? Or
I would
one
just table
complete?
both of them.
I make a motion, we table the discussion of allocating funds in the general project to the August 4th meeting. And that'll give time for the,
okay.
Commissioner King seconded, all in favor? I think great, good work. We were trying to tear down what you were doing. Okay, new business. Item 1 is purchase of ambulance chassis.
Commissioners, we have received confirmation on an insurance settlement for the ambulance that was deemed a total loss. The chassis was valued at $47,672. We have 2 quotes in your packets. The John Meagle was the lowest one at $65,656.90. That is for a diesel chassis, not a gasoline, so that puts the entire fleet at diesel. The total settlement amount is $120,006 with a $10,000 deductible, resulting in net payment of $110,006 to the county. ACCG is in process of issuing that payment, and the estimated lead time for the delivery of this new chassis is 120 days. Funding would come from the insurance proceeds, but we would need additional close to $20,000 to cover the chassis from SPLOS because of depreciation value on the wrecked chassis. And I did not have that in this paper because it was going to be on the box, but
I'm missing something. You say it's cost $65,000.
for a diesel chassis. It was estimated at
They're giving us
47.
110.
That's for the remount on the box also. That's item number 2. So it's
Total
a
claims
two-part.
only gonna pay out the
So how much
110.
is remount in the
See, it's 73,000.
box? Okay. So that,
Well, also, that includes, I don't think that this chassis comes with those, liquid springs or whatever it is they use when they load
Correct.
the ambulance, so part of that.
Remount will include that.
70-something thousand is for those liquid springs to lower the ambulance down where they can load them.
Great, and typically we don't bid these out because of insurance, proceeds will pay for them. That's traditionally how it's done. And then the quote that was on item number 2 is for the remount, the insurance actually used
we'll get
that
to I
quote.
didn't know we was mixing two, I'm sorry. We don't need to talk about that. Okay. Not to be negative, this is another example of where if we have an ambulance down, I think we need to move and get it done. We have the money to have done this already, and then if and when we get insurance, put it back.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the ambulance chassis for $65,656.90 from Meagle Ford.
All in favor? Item 2, approval to remove current ambulance box for remounting purposes.
All right, Commissioners, this is the second phase of it. The 72,334, the insurance got that estimate based off of what was provided by Custom Body Works for the remount. If we go with Custom Body, we would still need the $20,000 from SPLOST to help fund this because we are about short of covering the whole replacement of the ambulance. And again, we do not have to put this out for bid because this is insurance proceeds claims. It's customary, we go with
So how
a
much
local
do you
vendor.
get from SPLOST exactly?
It would be-
Include that in the motion.
72,
Should do 25 to be on the safe side if you're saying it's around 20.
plus,
137.
65, 65, 90 minus,
You need $28,000.
Yeah, so maybe 30.
yeah, 2799. If we get the 10,000 back from insurance, that's deductible. For some reason, that number would drop to 18,000. Right now, we're looking at close to 30,000, 28,000.
So if we want to do this, we'll need a motion approving to do this with using.
Insurance proceeds and SPLOST proceeds.
Using $30,000 of SPLOST.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or discussion?
And this work will be done by Custom Body Works in Woodbury.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept allowing Custom Body Works to remove and remount the ambulance box to the new chassis. The total price is $72,334, of which will be funded by the remaining insurance balance and up to $30,000 of SPLOST funds.
Second.
All in favor?
Who got the second first?
Vicky.
Okay.
Next item, application for bridge, county line road, and allow chair or vice chair to sign.
Commissioners, Doug Smith of Seafried Industry Properties has requested that Meriwether County serve as the official applicant for the RIMKIS designated as the agent for the bridge replacement project on County Line Road. As the project is being undertaken for the benefit of the county, Mr. Smith believes it is appropriate for the county to act as the applicant. The request aligns with the terms outlined in the MOU, which is attached for reference. The county attorney has reviewed the matter and discussed it with Mr. Smith. Nathan is available to address any legal questions, and Mr. Jim Coden is present to respond to any inquiries on behalf of the developer. I think Mr. Jim is here if you have any questions about that. The staff recommends that the chair or vice chair be allowed to sign the agreements to allow Meriwether County to be the applicant.
There's legal review of these documents and there's no issues with anything?
Yes, sir. They will be doing all the work, but you'll be the official applicant.
Okay, any questions or discussion? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the application for Bridge, County Line Road and allow the chair, the vice chair to sign.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Next item is update on procedures for code enforcement.
Commissioners, Director Sandra Jones is present to give an update on the procedures for code enforcement. The information below is from Director Jones.
I know there have been questions regarding the role and responsibilities of our code enforcement officers, and I'd like to provide some clarity of what they do and how we go about serving our county. We currently have one full-time and one part-time code enforcement officer. It's important to note that our county operates on a reactive code enforcement department, not a proactive one. This means that our officers respond to complaints submitted by phone or by email. Once a complaint is received, they investigate the issue, assess the situation, and work with the individuals to resolve the problems. In some or most cases, the property owners are unaware that they are in violation until it's explained to them. Our approach is to work with the people, not against the people. Taking a case to court is always our last resort, used only when all other efforts have been exhausted. In addition, in responding to the complaints, our officers have several other responsibilities: ensuring that the timber companies maintain clean roadways during operations, inspecting erosion and control sediment measures as construction sites throughout the duration of the builds, assigning addresses. We also work with the local cities such as Woodbury, Luthersville, and Greenville with their code enforcement. In 2024, we handled 298 cases. Of those cases, 296 cases were resolved without citations. The other two are still open and are currently owners are trying to be located because they do not live within the county. So far in 2025, year to date, we have handled 80 cases. 71 of those cases are closed. This does not include the 83 cases throughout the cities. Out of those 71 cases, nine of those are still open. One of them is going to court next month, actually. These cases include issues such as garbage, inoperable vehicles, timber compliance, and water drainage concerns. While we do not actively patrol for violations due to our reactive approach, we do respond when we see dangerous situations or receive a complaint in a rural county like this. Like ours, there are more properties out of compliance than in compliance, but we focus on addressing what concerns the path and the proposed health and safety issues and the environmental risk. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Staff recommendations is that if the board wishes to have a code enforcement adopt a patrolling enforcement model, the existing code ordinances would need to be revised. These revisions should include a comprehensive fee schedule for code violations, which would clearly define enforcement procedures ranging from verbal warnings to written citations to ultimately proceedings in court. In addition, implementing a patrolling enforcement approach would also require the hiring of at least one more full-time officer and acquire a new vehicle. It is important to emphasize that regardless of the directions taken, citations for ordinances violations being issued consistently. Whether a violator is a long-term sitting resident or a new member in the community, enforcement would be impartial. Therefore, the staff cannot say that who they are, who they're not going to enforce against. The staff is sensitive to these determinations, who is in violation or who is not.
So if you go out right now to a complaint, what are the steps that the enforcement officers are taking right now? Like, what is your current procedure? If you get a call that there's a code violation, what do you do next?
I'm gonna let Joel Cruz,
Okay.
which is an officer, let him talk to you about it.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
When you get a call that there's a code violation, what is your procedures that you follow right now when you go out to assess it, speak to the homeowner? I want to know what your procedures are
When
right
we go
now.
out to an address, somebody calls in, whatever the case may be, go out, take a look at the situation, assess it, look to see what needs to be done, and speak with the property owner, homeowner, whatever. Try to work out something with them so it can be corrected in a timely manner.
Do they receive a warning then, or do you follow up, or, I mean, just
We usually
your
follow
general-
up after that. As long as they're making progress, I usually don't issue a warning. As long as they keep doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's fine.
If they stop doing what they tell me they're gonna do, that's when they get a warning, get X amount of days to have it completed. Then if it's not completed in that amount of time, then we go to court.
Do you keep like a log record book of those so that you know to remember to follow up
It's all in the computer,
in the
in our
computer?
computer program.
So they are given a deadline to get.
If they do not
You
keep
stated
making
if you
progress.
go by and see progress, you don't worry about it. But do they have a deadline that's in your records that when you go by and it's not completed, it's time?
Yes, all that's kept in the computer program.
And is it kept updated? Like, so if you're not the one who goes out and the other officer goes out, that they can see what
Yes.
progress was made up to this point?
Yes,
And how long, I mean, I could make progress on something over 15 years and it really
Right.
not look like it to the average person, but me move one door to the side of the house. I mean, is there ever a timeline, like, we would like to see this done within 90 days?
yes,
So you let them know, we would
Yes.
like, you can do progress on it, but we'd really like completion
Correct.
in a certain time frame.
correct,
And that's noted in there so that
Correct.
if they come back and say they weren't told, it's
correct,
there.
And pictures of it.
yes.
Okay.
Keep updated pictures
And that's
on
all
everything.
uploaded in the, that's
Yes.
all uploaded in your computer
Yes.
system as well?
So if you're responding to a complaint, 10 miles across the county going to look, you see, you drive, you notice 5 other things, that's not the code. You know, as you're traveling to this complaint, do we address those at all, or we just,
It depends on the severity, and if it's a safety issue, absolutely we will. But it's gonna depend on the severity, and again, you know, I'm one person in a 500 square mile county. I got my biggest focus that takes up the majority of my time is these timber companies that come in here. So
I mean-
unfortunately, I just do not have time to turn back around and go to everything.
To go back to your question, you can go to the road and 5 out of 6 houses are gonna have a code non-compliant in some scenario or the other. It's going to depend on the severity. Just about every house in this county is gonna have an operable car. Any, you know, and there are a lot of people living in campers in this county that have been living in for years. And some of them have to get corrected. So it's, you know, you implement these ordinances differently than what we have, we're gonna end up having a lot more homeless. And you have a lot of these older elderly people going to court that can't pay fines because they can't get their car out of the yard, get their lawnmower out of the yard, get their tractor out of the yard. Because anything that has motors, oil, batteries, whatever, an inoperable is inoperable, no matter what kind of, you know,
well, I
vehicle
mean,
it is.
I'm
So
sympathetic.
we're having to be careful with, the severity of it.
I understand, I'm sympathetic, and I actually like the fact that you guys are working with them and avoiding fines in court at all costs.
Right, they
I
can't,
think we
they
should.
can't get cleaned up with us going to court,
But I'm-
they can't pay the
I
fine.
can't support being in favor of creating ordinances and policy that we don't enforce, and then some citizens get called out on it and have to do because their neighbor called and the rest of the county is not doing it. If we're gonna have these ordinances, and we think they're beneficial for the entire citizenry of the county, then we need to be addressing them and enforcing it. The same way you're doing it, give them time and let, I
Right.
get that, but do we need more staff to be able to do this?
If you wanna be proactive about it, then yeah, you probably
Now, I'm
wanna
not
get
looking to
about 3
generate
more
revenue
people.
here, I'm looking to,
No, I
if we have these
understand
ordinances,
that,
let's have
but-
everybody know what they're supposed to do.
But even just trying to work with people in a situation like that, because that's the last thing I want to do is get somebody a fine.
Right.
Because there's too many people here that can't afford it. But even to try to be proactive throughout the whole county, you know, I know Cassandra said something about hiring one more person. It's probably going to take at least 2 or 3 more people,
Yeah, okay.
because that's just how much there is out there to be done.
I agree that we work with the county and some people, you know, just can't help it and so forth. But did I understand you say y'all usually just go out if you get a call, a complaint? But if you're going down the road, if you see somebody that's in full violation of our code, you don't pull in there and
It's
kind
a
of,
safety
It
issue.
depends on the severity of it and if it's a safety issue.
yeah, question, it's not severity. If you're going down the road, you see somebody that's definitely not complying with the codes that code enforcement goes out to, do you take time to pull in there and talk to them and go, hey, look, no one's called yet, but I was having to go by. with a reason. I think that should be done every now and then, is because when someone does call and complain about this one here, they're gonna go, well, what about that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one? Then y'all ain't said nothing.
I get you on that.
And then it's all thrown.
There again, you're gonna need about 2 or 3 more extra people, because
I wasn't saying go looking
all
for
day
it.
long,
I wasn't saying like
every
tomorrow.
day,
I
all
wasn't
day
saying,
long.
I wasn't saying like tomorrow, go out and
I
start
understand
looking
that.
for it. But if you was going down the road and saw somebody that would, had motorhomes out front, you're gonna wait till someone calls and complain, or would you stop in there and, hey, say, look, this is a
If I had
violation?
time, I'd be glad to stop in there and talk to them.
Okay.
I don't
okay,
always have that, but I'll be
no,
glad to.
Oh, I know, it's a lot, I know.
Gene,
It's a lot.
okay, we're off course here a little bit here.
I was just asking.
I understand what you're saying, I really do, I understand everybody's saying. But yes, if we're going on the road, you can even ask her, I've gone on the road and I've seen a code violation. And I have stopped and said, by the way, do you realize this is not legal? But am I gonna do that? And every house I see going down Alley Road, no. Because I can go down Alley Road and see one every other house.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go down every road every day when I go to see an address and see 10 violations and go to every one of those houses.
And it's a safety issue.
Commissioners, if you may, I have a lot of experience with code enforcement. And most operate on a complaint basis. You're not gonna resolve this tonight. I would recommend, if the board wants to move towards what it sounds like y'all want to, that you let your staff put together a realistic budget of what it would take and prepare to answer questions because I think they're underestimating the number of people you're gonna need. So I think y'all really need to have some study into this, because if y'all wanna do that, it's gonna be a serious expense, and y'all need to have some good numbers in front of you so you can make this. That's just my 2 cents on it.
I agree 100%.
I don't think you can make that decision tonight.
Oh, no, I do, yeah, but I think we need, exactly what you were saying, we need to understand, what is it gonna take to be able to respond to complaints and the things that we see? Because if we see violations and we don't get, the code doesn't tell us, we get to choose which ones we wanna report to. If you drive by and see it, then you're condoning it because the policy says it's not supposed to be there. And if we keep letting that happen, then we are setting ourselves up for these other situations. Or let's just stop making ordinances and don't have a code enforcement department altogether. I mean, we did that for a reason, to control property values and the growth of the county. So we either need to stand by it and follow it and do it in a manner that is in the best interest of the citizens, because to the point she made earlier is, most of the time, they don't even know they're out of compliance.
Right.
So why would we start trying to generate revenue from that? That's not the case. But now that you know, what's a reasonable timeline for you to be able to get this in order? Because that's what the governing authority of the county believes, these are the things that moves our county forward. So either we do them or we don't.
And that would include, I think, you guys would want to know how long it would take to train these people and
Right.
all that. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this.
This is a 6 month to a year thing to get ironed out. Because they gotta figure out, what do we want them to do, how many you need, do they need vehicles, that's a huge expense. But
Post-certified, and how y'all want to do it, it's whatever.
Yeah, and I don't think it's something that's gonna happen overnight, you
No,
know,
no.
but I just think we need to move toward that. I mean, you're talking about, he's saying that, 90% of your stuff is timber guys? Well, if it's been raining for 4 weeks and there's nobody cutting timber, maybe he could direct his attention to something else during that time frame. But it's gonna be a slow process. You start on it, and 5 years down the road, we might make some progress.
so can we do that, work with
Yes, sir.
them on what does the budget requirement look like for that department to,
Great, we'll be working on the budget
And maybe
here in the
do it in
next month or so. So we're starting next fiscal year budget, I think, next week, Jamie.
We're gonna start meeting with department heads.
So it's a perfect time for us to start throwing some numbers together and see what it look like, gradually bring it onto the county, one at a time, 2 at a time, to see what the cost will be.
that's good information that you gave us. There's a lot of data in there too, thank you. Any other questions or discussions? Next item is consideration of placing elections building out for bid, 137 South Court Square.
Commissioners, the building located at 137 South Court Square is owned by the Meriwether County Board of Commissioners. One option is for consideration is to place the building out for bid, subject to a reserve amount. Alternatively, the county may explore whether any internal departments could use the facility. Staff is currently conducting a comprehensive assessment of all county-owned buildings to determine necessary upgrades and restoration needs.
Any discussion among the board or motion to be made?
I'd make a motion that we place the elections building located at 137 South Court Square out for bid.
Second.
You need to set a reserve, otherwise they can buy it for $1 if nobody
Can we
else bids.
reject any bid?
Not the way the motion is.
Okay.
All right? I already changed that back around.
So I'll have
And
a
the time-
recommendation of a reserve?
Yeah.
I don't need to see if he's got a recommendation, I don't know,
Oh,
unless you know a number.
For reserve, I would say minimum 90,000 to 100,000.
no, we don't say no 90 to 90. I'm gonna make a motion that we put the building out the bid at 137 South Court Square at a reserve of $115,000.
Which would mean
Timeframe,
a minimum bid, 115 and up.
Up.
Yep, okay.
timeframe,
Second.
What timeframe to expire?
30 days, 60 days.
Well, how long it take y'all to put it in the paper? I don't know.
As soon as possible, I'll get you.
Yeah,
All right, you
second.
All right, motion second, all in favor? Okay, number 6, discussion on additional roads for 2025 LMIG.
Commissioners, the EMC has provided cost estimates for paving roads with Stovall Road estimated at $360,000 and Melvin Harris Road at $420,000 for a combined total of $780,000. The 2025 LMIG was $830,548.14 with a 30% match of $249,164.44, which brings the minimum required amount to $1,079,712.58. The board previously committed the remaining 2024 LRA funds in the amount of $517,885.10, which brings the total to $1,597,597.68. The board may also choose to reallocate this back to bridges and culverts for the LRA funds. To satisfy the state requirement, we at least have to spend the $1,079,712.58. EMC is prepared to evaluate additional roads and develop the necessary RFPs. I believe Chris and them already have Stovall and Melvin Harris ready to go and be able to put out for bid. And you do have the list of roads that was presented when we discussed the original LMIG in your packet.
Anybody have any comments or concerns? I have one that nobody does. I'd like to just state that, thank you very much for going out and getting these bids that are much cheaper than what we've been seeing since I've been on the board. It was very exciting, fantastic. Usually we get these LMIG projects back saying, we need more money than what y'all gave us in the beginning. And here we are saying, we can do this and how much more you want to do? Thank you, fantastic. Now the only thing is faster, but but my personal opinion is I do not want to save the money that we committed to. We committed to 1.597.
Correct.
Then let's spend 1.597 on more roads so we can get this county back where it needs to be, not say, oh, we saved a little money, now let's put it up. If we committed as a board that we had 1.6 roughly $1 million to doing roads, then now that we've gotten it at a better rate, let's just push forward. That's my opinion. I want to be able to voice it, so.
What road?
That's $1 million question. What
I did
roads?
drive a little bit.
Well, we might want to bring our
Yeah.
public works guy in a little bit to help suggest on road two, because I know Albertson Road is in bad shape. I don't think that's on it, but I don't know what all we're gonna add to it, so he could probably suggest to us better.
Chris might have
There's
suggested.
one I was gonna
Before
suggest
you
is going
ask-
down.
Before you answer that, Mr. Chris, wasn't EMC doing an assessment of the roads? Isn't that one of the things that we had brought, y'all were gonna do an assessment so you can give us an idea of what your assessment is?
So that's one thing we did talk about is maybe adding another task order to do the countywide assessment. And that gives you a scoring for every road. It takes the subjectivity out of it. And
Right.
Brian and I, we've worked together before in other counties we can get together and propose that list. We do that in your neighboring county in Upson, and it really comes in handy when you're pulling it out and when you're talking to citizens. Why is my road not paved? Well, your score is way higher than the ones that we're doing, and kind of help you out that way. That's something that I can work with John with to get a price with. But the roads that we talked about when we originally started, we've looked at Forest Road, we've looked at Harry Hardy Road, and then of course Stovall and Melvin Harris. So those are true assessments that we went out there and measured, looked at the, I call it the prescription to fix the roads, and that's how we came up with our cost estimates. So and I vetted those numbers with contractors, and when we put this out to bid, I feel confident that we will come in that number. Like the chairman stated, I think it would be a good time to add more roads because obviously more tonnage, a smaller unit price, and we can get more done than piecemealing and doing a mile or two at a time. So the bigger project, the more contractors will be interested, and the better value that we can give the county.
Chris, what was your cost estimate on those other 2 roads?
I don't have that right in front of me, but if you I think they're all in about the same shape that the ones we looked at before. So you're running anywhere between 250 to 260,000 miles or $1,000 a mile.
For about a mile and a half to 2 miles.
Yeah, so right now our estimates are around doing about 3 miles of road. So if you break that down on a unit price, you're around 250,000 miles or $250,000 per mile.
Okay.
So we need about 3 more miles.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
That gets there. And then like I was talking with John, if we have a list of roads, I'm all about adding them in there and having them add alternates. We don't want to give back. So if the market changes within the bidding price and we get a better unit price, we can stretch those dollars longer. So, we can set it up as a unit price contract and we can stretch those tonnage. Brian and I can work together and we can make those tonnage work throughout the county. So definitely give me all you want to talk about. We'll give you a price on it and then we'll whittle it down to what we want to put in the bid package.
So on Stovall Road, you're already going to be there going from the railroad tracks to Melvin.
We got 1.25 miles on Stovall. Getting that one.
Is it, in past there, it's pretty bad all the way down to Ogletree Road. Is it cheaper and more beneficial while they're there to just keep on going?
There is
Pick up and
value
go
because
somewhere
there's
else?
mobilization and traffic control. So if you're in a section of the county and we want to stretch in there, one thing that we do in some adjacent counties is we'll pave a main line and then catch some side roads to it. Obviously that helps out as well. So, definitely if you want to stretch those dollars, we can get further down Stovall and clean up that road if we needed to.
But that would be cheaper than picking up and moving to.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. That was one section I drove down through there, and it's from Harry Hardy to Ogletree Road. I stopped and went back that way looking at roads, but it's bad between Ogletree Road and Harry Hardy where we're going to stop at currently.
That's right.
If I'm looking at this right, Mr. Chairman, it looks like Stovall altogether is additional 5 to 6 miles.
Yeah, it's a long road.
Yeah, but we did a year and a half ago or so, we did a section, and then there's some other areas that's been repaired by the county. But from Ogletree down to Harry Hardy, nothing, it's terrible. I don't know how much patching we have. Some of them I don't think you can patch. Some of them things, I mean.
Yeah. Stovall to Harry Road to the railroad crossing is 1.75 miles.
And that's what's already approved this year. Right?
That's what we have.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that's, okay.
Because I traveled that road last Wednesday, and there's some good spots, there's some rough spots.
Which one?
Stovall.
But, I mean, because this ranking that we have is 2 years old.
Correct.
We did the number 1 road, which is Melvin Harris, that's on the list being done. Stovall, I don't know where milepost 3 or milepost 4 is. Is it milepost 0 at Greenville or is it at Troop County Line?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We didn't do that one. Like Bill called on.
But yeah, this is the one that Bill,
Because if I remember right, that was .95, so I think it starts at the county line.
Is 0 start in Greenville or did it start in Troop County? My marker one's in Greenville.
So if he's going from 3 to 4, that's in that general area that I'm talking about. Okay. Well, that's the number 1, 2, 3, 4. Worst road on the county list that we have to work with.
And I can provide this list to Chris with EMC. He did not charge for any of the assessments for the roads. Is that correct, Chris?
That's correct.
So let me add, so if, I got two questions. So one is, the fee we've already agreed to with you for this project, does it change now that we're gonna do more, or is it based off the total that we approved?
So it's a percent of construction, total construction cost, so we'll true that up at the end of the contract, whether it's more or less, it's still that same percentage.
Okay, and basically, you guys need from us the approval to stop spending or to continue to spend the agreement, and you guys can choose the roads based on the assessment, right?
Correct.
We don't have to.
It's up to the board
It's
to
up to
pick the
you.
roads, yes, not staff.
You can let them pick.
Okay.
If you
I'm
choose
just trying to
If you choose
clarify,
to, yeah.
what do we want to do? No, one thing, I'm in favor of continuing to spend the previously agreed upon dollar amount.
Yes.
Okay, you agree with that? Three of us do, so you don't matter now. So we all agree on that, that's good, so now we just need to figure out which road we want to keep doing.
If it pleases the board, we can have Chris bring back a assessment of, from his current Stovall Road to what needs to be done and come out with a calculated cost to get to that 1.6.
I mean, my opinion is I don't want that to wait till the next meeting or the next meeting, and then we ain't going, and I mean, I'm ready to, when they gonna be there paving, then let's go.
Yeah, I think once the roads are identified, he's already have the RFPs ready to go.
I don't want to slow that down, is what I'm getting at.
Well, that will.
If we need to name the road,
So do we need, would it be better just to do one road that, if they figure how many miles it is, find one that we can just knock out a whole road? Like, we were saying 3 miles. Well, the first road that's 3 miles on here is Common Creek Circle. That's before Forest Road, that's, I mean, it's at the top of the list, you know, it's like the 8th road down or whatever. Or do we need to find smaller roads? I mean, if we just want to, we can knock out a whole road at one time. And that way we have a road completed. I would love to see a road completed, not a piece here and a patch there.
right, that's why I was like, is it cheaper to just keep pushing down
Right,
Stonewall?
do Stovall and then
Till
find
you run
another
out of
road that
money or
fits
run
that
out of
mileage.
roads.
I
That's
say
at the
I
top.
say we go on down Stovall for whatever it takes, a mile and a half, is that about what it is?
Mr. Vice Chair, that's what I was about to recommend, because utilizing your dollars on collector roads and big impact roads for the community is something that I would recommend. Obviously, these neighborhoods are important and they get people out there, but if you want to talk about improving the communities, like you said earlier, getting these main roads, people coming in and coming out of the county is important. So my recommendation would be, if you're asking me, let's look at what we can do down Stovall, have them there, have Stovall and have Melvin Harris as one package that goes out, and that gets us up to the 1.5, and see if that number's checked, and if we got more money over, then, you know, give us the latitude to work with staff to come up with that list. As long as y'all authorize, you know, not to exceed 1.6 or whatever, we can get you that list and get the bids, you know, the bid package out very quickly.
That's what I like, because at the time this was generated, I don't know if everybody remembers it, the Stovall was the second or third most trafficked road. It was Lucasville Road, Stovall, then Harry Hardy, or somewhere in that order. And that was why we committed everything to Lucasville Road to finish it. And then we did a little bit on Stovall. We get a chance to finish it, at least go after the next one.
Right.
That's my.
I would agree with that.
Right.
And my next question is, how could we get a new updated version of this?
And that's what, to Ms. Selson's comment, I was gonna work with staff to come up with a cost estimate to give y'all a new countywide assessment of the roads.
Yeah.
And I agree, that's something very important. You can pull that off the shelf anytime. You know, it's only as good as the day that a big truck rode down it, but we will have a snapshot and a benchmark to work off of.
Two more questions.
Yes, sir.
The paving that we're doing is 15-year road, right? So she don't have to go back for 15 years.
Depending on traffic, that's a loaded question. You know, if the governor changes the weight limit again and we're running log trucks that's twice what it's supposed to be. But what we're coming up with is a solution that should get us, you know, 15 years down the road. We've got
What
the
is the
data.
pavement thick, like the asphalt thickness, the 2-inch, 3-inch, like what are we looking at?
Depending on the
These numbers.
severity, some of these are gonna have isolated patching where you can go 4 inches, you're gonna mill up 4 inches, put a 19 millimeter or 25 millimeter down for patching, And then we're gonna come across with a crack relief, an inner surface layer, that ranges between 3/4 to an inch. And then most of these roads are gonna get 2 inches of top or 1.5 inches.
Yeah,
My next question was, does he need approval from us or from you to start his analysis and grading of the road system in the county?
That's gonna be from them.
That's gonna be from the board, and I can give this list to Chris, so I'll have these should be all the paved road and the county.
And we can give you a price. So we, thankful, we got a master agreement in place. I think that with professional services, there's a lot of latitude that the county manager can have. We can work up a task orders and we can work up a price on that. And with his discretion, we can move forward with the countywide assessment, as well as we're going to continue with this package out to bid as well.
I'd like to make a motion then that we continue with the funding agreed upon for LMIG for 2025, $1,597,597.68, to continue down Stovall Road until funds are extinguished, or we run out of Stovall Road, allow staff, public works, and county administrator to determine where to move to after that, and allow EMC to do a road assessment of all paved roads in the county, ranking of condition, overlap with traffic.
Second.
All in favor?
We don't have that cost yet, right?
No.
But we can approve or deny the cost when it
Yeah.
comes back. Now, he's not waiting on us.
I'll get that list to you, for Chris.
Okay, item number 7, consideration of a referendum resolution for the continuation of the special local option sales tax, SPOS, and the execution of agreements to place SPOS on the November 2025 ballot.
Chairman and Commissioners, the referendum resolution pertains to the continuation of the special local option sales tax, SPOS, and it's intended to be placed on the November 2025 ballot. This resolution is required in order to present the continuation of SPOS to the citizens of Meriwether County for a vote, along with the proposed project list submitted by the county and each municipality within the county. This requires all commissioners to sign the resolution. And I know that there will be signatures required also for the call of the election as well.
Do we need to read this?
No.
No,
Thank
we
you.
don't have to do that.
That's about that big.
No.
Okay, so, has the board had a chance to review that, and then anybody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we sign the resolution for the consideration of a referendum resolution for the continuation of the special local option sales tax and the execution of agreements to place SPOS on the November 2025 ballot.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Report from county administrator.
Commissioners, like I mentioned earlier, we've been working with Jamie, our finance director, to get the budget out to the Department of Constitutional Officers. We'll have those meetings in the next couple of weeks. Start preliminary budget, work on it. Probably bring back to the board at the next meeting to have a work session before a meeting to have staff come forward if they would like additional personnel or anything to be considered into the budget and get the board's recommendation on that. The only thing, I went to the 4th of July celebration at Lake Meriwether on Friday. It was a fantastic show. I showed up late, around 8 o'clock, and it was nice and cool, but the fireworks lasted a good 25 minutes. It was a very good show. Staff did a very good job cleaning up the park the day after and the day before. There was little hiccups with some things, but staff was managed to work all those out. The band was fantastic. Look forward to next year.
Report from county commissioners, Commissioner Snelson.
I would like to first off say congratulations to all of our rec teams that competed. However you placed, I want to thank the coaches and the parents for allowing us with their kids, and the recreation staff for all that they do. It a lot of times goes unsung, and they're wonderful with these kids. I want to thank everyone involved with the 4th of July fireworks and all the public safety. Everything seemed to go smooth. The entrance coming in was good, and exiting was perfect and easy. And I want to thank the department heads that show up for their department for our meetings and speak out for their departments. I really appreciate it.
Commissioner King?
pretty much covered everything I was thinking, so I'm gonna go ditto and all that. They did a great job. It was awesome, and I'm proud of our kids at Meriwether County. I love the fact that we initiated this Meriwether County Recreation Department in the last year and a half, 2 years. And it is, just blooming like it should be, and the parents are excited, and I hope it continues to grow.
Mr. Collins?
I'd like to thank the staff and all the employees for the work they do, and everything seems to be moving quite along pretty good. And I'd like to thank all the sponsors for the fireworks activity. I'd like to also thank the committee members. I'd like to thank the Meriwether County Fire and Rescue and the Meriwether County Sheriff's Department. And that's all I have.
I'm gonna echo everyone else, thank everyone that was involved with the holiday celebrations and that put effort in, or time or money. It's a success, and everyone appreciated it, and I appreciate what the staff does and the vendors that we have. Thank everybody for what they're doing. Any report from the county attorney?
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll read the future meeting notices. Tuesday, July 22nd, 2025, we have a regular meeting at 6 p.m. Monday, August 4th, 2025, regular meeting at 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 26th, 2025, regular meeting at 6 p.m. Closed in observance of Labor Day, Monday, September the 1st, 2025. We have a need for executive session.
We do, Mr. Chairman. I have personnel and tax matters, but if you want to cover all four, just be safe, that's
Just I'm
fine.
gonna make a motion to please cover all four. So.
I make a motion, executive session for litigation, personnel, real estate, tax matters.
Second.
All in favor? Executive session is 7:46. We have a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
One more
All
month.
in favor? Back in regular session at 8:02. I'd like to make a motion to waive the penalties and interest on taxes as discussed in executive session.
Second.
All in favor? I'd like to make another motion to approve 2 more positions in public works.
Second.
All in favor? Anything else need to come before the board?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? You adjourn.